Day 367 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 2206, divide array into equal pairs. The difficulty level is easy, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as well. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go in and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. You are given an integer array nums consisting of 2 times n integers. You need to divide nums into n pairs such that each element belongs to exactly one pair. The elements present in a pair are equal. Return true if nums can be divided into n pairs, otherwise return false. All right, y'all, so that sounds simple enough, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just to make sure we're doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 2. The output is true. Explanation says there are 6 elements in nums, so they should be divided into 6 divided by 2, 3 pairs. So we need to add, we need to divide, or we don't need to actually divide these elements into 3 pairs. We just need to make sure that we are capable or able to divide these elements into 3 pairs. So let's see how they did it. They said if nums is divided into the pairs, we compared 2 2's together. We compared the 3 3's together. So this 3 and this 3 will be a pair, and then finally the 2 2's, and it will satisfy the conditions. So when we pair these 2 2's together, we pair this 2 and this 2 together, we pair this 3 and this 3 together, we will satisfy these requirements that says each element belongs to exactly one pair and the elements present in the pair are equal. So since we are able to do that, we could just return true. We don't have to return the pairs themselves. As you can see, these are the pairs. We don't have to return the pairs themselves. We just have to return, are we able to do it, right? And in this case, we are, so the output is true. So let's take a look at example 2 where we will not be able to satisfy these requirements. So in example 2, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 3, and 4. This time the output is false. Explanation says there's no way to divide nums into 4 divided by 2, 2 pairs, such that the pairs satisfy each condition. So we have 4 elements, and which means we need to have 2 pairs, right? But we cannot create 2 pairs where each element is equal. That's the part that we aren't able to complete in this example because 3 is not equal to 4, 1 is not equal to 2. None of the elements in this array are equal to each other, so it would be impossible for us to divide it into equal pairs. Whereas up here, as you can see, we have elements that are equal to each other, such as these 2 2's equal each other, these 2 2's equal each other, and this 3 and this 3 equal each other, right? So that's why we were able to do it up there, because we have equal numbers in this array. In this array, in example 2 array, none of the elements are equal, which means we cannot create any pairs that allow us to satisfy the requirements. So with that being said, y'all, now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Solution is not that difficult to understand at all, y'all. So let's get started. Now, the first thing we need to do is we're going to create a dictionary, which is going to count the number of occurrences of each element in the array. So to do that, we're going to declare a variable called dict, and we're going to set that equal to a dictionary of integers. So we're going to say square bracket int colon int. We're going to come outside the square brackets and initialize it with some parentheses like that. Now we're going to, now that we have initialized the dictionary, now we need to populate that dictionary with information, or with the elements and their count. So for that, we're going to say for num and nums. We're going to open up the bracket and we're just going to say dict square bracket num comma default colon 0. Come outside the square bracket, we're going to say plus equals 1. So each time we see this num, or each time we see one of these elements, right, which will be represented by num, we're going to count how many times we see it. So our default value is going to be 0, but each time we see it, we're going to increment that 0 by 1, and that's going to keep counting of how many times that element appears. Now we need to make sure that there are even amounts of each element, because if an element does not have an even amount, that means we cannot divide it into equal pairs, right? So we're going to say for frequency in dict.values. So that's going to get us the values from our dictionary. We're going to say if freq mod 2 does not equal 0, which means if we divide the frequency by 2 and the remainder is not 0, that means that we have an odd number of frequencies of that value. So we're going to say, we could just open up the brackets and we can say return false. However, if we go through this and we find something that is, or we go through this and we don't return false, like we make it through this without returning false, and that so that would mean all of the elements or have a even frequency, right? So then we could just come right here and we could say return true. Now, boom, y'all, that should be all she wrote. Let's give it a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it, and it's accepted. So let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. Okay, look at that, y'all. 2 milliseconds beats 47.01% of users. Not too bad. We could get those numbers up, but I feel like this is a simple and easy solution to understand that we can all learn from, and we can all use this knowledge that we gained from this solution on future solutions. So with that being said, y'all, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.